Now, there's no doubt about it that by far, one of the most anticipated Star Wars TV shows of 2023 is indeed the Ahsoka Tano series. There's multiple reasons why. We have Thrawn, Sabine Wren, Ezra Bridger, as well as Aira Syndulla coming into the equation, along with the Thrawn trilogy from the 90s being a real piece of source material for the show. So basically, it's going to be a canonized Legends story to some extent by Favreau and Filoni. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, with Star Wars Celebration of 2023 already set as being one of the biggest celebrations under Disney's wing, they also have D23 to look forward to. Now, those two events for next year are going to be the homes of announcements to be made for the movies and the TV shows. Now, with that being said, and moving forward from all of this, we have a lot of things to talk about when it comes to Kathleen Kennedy, because there's a lot of things happening with the Acolyte series. There's a lot of other things happening with the Star Wars lore that some fans may very well be unhappy about of what Kathleen Kennedy recently did. So sit tight, sit back and enjoy, or not enjoy, because it's really not something that I think a lot of fans are going to like. But let's get into it. Now, given that the Acolyte series, and we talked about this, has been having a lot of budget issues because Kathleen Kennedy had so many scripts made by Leslye that led to some sets being built, and then the rewrites caused Disney to take down those sets, and it cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars. And not just that, there's also some constraints or restraints on some of the set pieces. So they're kind of limited to what they can really build for this show in particular. Now, with that being said, what's really intriguing about this, however, is the most recent development is that with Kathleen Kennedy working on the Acolyte with Leslye Headland, and after many setbacks, rewrites are still underway. However, as of late, Kennedy has been implementing some material that fans may find to be controversial for the Star Wars franchise, of what she is about to do with this up-and-coming story. Now, it's described that with the Acolyte, both Kennedy and Leslye are about to make a canon into the Star Wars universe, that Yoda abandoned the Jedi Order for quite some time after the peak of the High Republic era and resorted to the world of Ahch-To, just like Luke Skywalker did pre-The Force Awakens. Kennedy is said to be giving Yoda the Luke Skywalker treatment from The Last Jedi, as she wants to create a better version of what Rian Johnson did in The Last Jedi. The Acolyte is set to take place at the very end of the High Republic era, and that originally Lucas and Kennedy, believe it or not, agreed that Yoda would be getting plenty of screen time in the show. Now, this is where the bad things come into play of what Kennedy recently did. Now, the Acolyte is set to take place at the very end of that era. However, of course, up until about 2 months ago, Kennedy cut nearly 80% of the planned Yoda scenes for the Acolyte series. Yoda was set to be implemented into the Acolyte on a similar scale that Boba Fett was meshed into the Mandalorian Season 2. His screen time has been drastically cut down now to a mere small cameo instead of an actual role, and that Kennedy ditched and got rid of actor Frank Oz from providing the voice of Yoda, as she only wants Yoda to appear and not to speak. Now, let me just point this out quick. If you're bringing back Yoda, you gotta have him talk. I mean, if you really think about it, if you're bringing back Yoda, he should at least talk to some extent, right? I mean, even in Return of the Jedi, right? We had Yoda talking. Even in Empire Strikes Back, I mean, every single Star Wars installment, Yoda talks. So, for Kennedy to bring Yoda in, even if it's for a mere cameo, however long it may be, 30 seconds, a minute long, who knows, and not to have him talk, this is yet again a good Luke Skywalker treatment, you know, in a bad way, of course, I'm just saying. It is a Luke Skywalker treatment in both the scenarios of The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens. When you look at The Force Awakens, Luke does not speak. When you look at The Last Jedi, Luke is a recluse, and they're setting it up that Yoda's been gone for several years at the very end of the High Republic era, and no less being on Ahch-To. So, not only are they having Yoda resort, alright, on a strange world to go into hiding and to go into, a recluse, but now they're having him resort to the world of Ahch-To, the same world that Luke was on. I think that this messes with the continuity a bit because Luke was looking for Ahch-To for a very long time, so now it's kind of like, why couldn't Yoda just help him and give him the answer? It just doesn't make sense, but I digress. So, the plan is for Yoda to show up once the High Republic comes to an end at the climax of the Acolyte series, showing Yoda's return back into the Jedi Order. Once again, that will lead into the prequels. Kennedy feels too much Yoda would have ruined the Star Wars series, and so she completely dialed back on using him, and will no longer be the puppet version, and will be the CG version instead, which some fans, by the way, may like or dislike. I don't really have a problem with them using, either A, puppet, or B, a CG model. I have no issues with that, really. That never really bothered me. But the thing that does bother me here is how originally George and Kennedy agreed that the Acolyte would have a lot of Yoda scenes, or at least very highlight-oriented scenes that would be very poppy to the audience. But now it's been drastically reduced to nothing more than a mere cameo, no dialogue, no less, and setting it up in canon that Yoda was actually hiding away on Ahch-To just like Luke was in The Last Jedi and pre-The Force Awakens. I have a problem with that. I don't know about you guys, but I have a problem with him abandoning the Jedi Order for whatever reason. We're not quite sure what that motive really is just yet, but he does leave the Jedi Order apparently sometime during the High Republic and returns at the very tail end of the High Republic era so that it leads into the Phantom Menace. Alright, if that makes a lot of sense there. So obviously, Kathleen Kennedy, I think it's pretty much apparent at this point that she does not care about legacy characters. It's all about tearing down those characters and the speciality of all of them, right? It's really about stripping down those characters into something else. So that's the problem that I have. This is why I'm looking forward to other projects by John and Dave, like Mando Season 3, Mando 4, Book of Boba Fett Season 2, the Ahsoka series, the Bo-Katan TV show, all of these other shows that have yet to also be unannounced that will be revealed next year that we've been talking about. There's so much on the horizon to look forward to than the Acolyte and/or Skeleton Crew. And for those of you that are looking forward to those shows, hey, I mean, that's fine. That's perfectly fine and okay. Everybody has an opinion. You're entitled to that. But this is just not for me when it comes to Yoda. I mean, I don't know why you would want to give him the Luke Skywalker treatment, but I digress. I would like to hear what you all have to say about this whole situation that's taking place right now of Kennedy cutting Yoda's scenes, dialing back on his screen time, and yeah. So let me know what you guys have to say about all of that below in the comments. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and check me out there, and I'll catch you guys next time.